He's been tasked with managing this club. And if he doesn't go to his board and say, Don, there's mitigating circumstances here. The millions that we have spent on these players that were playing very well in their own countries, they're not playing well. Well, I want results.
Yeah, I get that.
That's what Abramovich will say. I don't spend
that, Stevie.
2 to 3 million to be in 9th place.
I get that, Craig. Sorry, I get that. And Frank is obviously not going to say that, but that's the perspective I can give when I see young managers trying to forge their way into Premier League and trying to compete with some of the gigantic managers. You know, that can't be easy. Yeah. Now, Frank's an intelligent guy. He's said in the British press, he's under pressure.
Chelsea's not a stepping stone for young managers. It should, Arsenal should not be a stepping stone for young managers. And as harsh as this is, if he doesn't get results, he's going to be out. Now, listen, and a perfect, like all these guys to be given time. But you show me a manager that's never been sacked in his career. There's not many. And listen, Abramovich cannot afford to be outside the top 4. Now, there is time to turn this around. There is no doubt about it. But what there is a huge doubt off the back of one season at Derby County and one season without a transfer budget that Lampard is going to be given time to turn this ship around. So Chelsea's not some little play ship for a young manager to come in and try and gain experience. Abramovich needs results. And he's ruthless, Don. He's ruthless. And if they're already looking at alternatives, that's already telling you that they have a doubt long-term that Frank Lampard is going to be able to turn this around.
But do we not talk Mikel Arteta anymore then? Because 3 weeks ago we were saying Arteta's under massive pressure and he could be gone. And all of a sudden, 3 wins on the spin, he's 6 points away from the top 4. So fast forward a week's time, if Chelsea beat Fulham, they could be back in the top 4. So we can't just keep chucking it back and forth.
The problem,
Frank should be sacked.
Don,
Frank needs to be given time. Arteta should be sacked. He needs to be given time. He needs to be given a season. The problem Frank
has is that his owner is Abramovich. Abramovich couldn't care less whether the fans liked, disliked, or whatever the thoughts were on the manager, if he's getting unless he's getting results. He doesn't care. He's sitting with trillions and millions of money. You think he cares whether, it's not fair on Frank, he hasn't been given time. He's only interested in what the results are, and if the results are going against whoever the manager is too often, then guess what? They're out the door. So unfortunately for Frank, that's the scenario. Personally, I would give him more time, but it's Abramovich, and so he could pull the plug anytime.
I'm not suggesting Lampard should be sacked, but I mean, if you talk to me in 3 weeks' time, and he's lost the next 3 Premier League games, then he's going to have to go, right? Because that's the scenario that we're in. That is the business that we're in, whether we want to give all these guys a chance or not. So I'm clearly saying it's up to him to turn it around. It's up to him to get in his players' heads. It's up to him to pick the right team. He's got every chance because, I mean, Fulham, they should be beaten, although they have improved. Leicester's going to be a tough one. And Wolves have had a topsy-turvy season with a squad that's a little thinner or a lot thinner than last year. So he has the opportunity. And Mikel Arteta, short-term, gave himself some breathing space by getting results. And that's what Lampard has to do. He's got to buy himself enough time to convince the manager that he's got enough to take this team forward. If he doesn't, he's out.
No, I agree. I agree with what you said there. I just think we can't just keep having a Frank Lampard loses 2 games, he should be gone. Arteta loses a few games, he should be gone. I think we need to have a little bit of perspective and try and I know what the boys are saying, and they're absolutely right about these chairmen, especially Abramovich. They won't wait for no man. But all I'm trying to give is a perspective of what Frank's had to deal with since taking the Chelsea job. Remarkable job last year on a budget that just wasn't even there. This year, the turnover of players has been ridiculous. There's no guarantee if Frank Lampard left Chelsea tomorrow and say Thomas Tuchel come in, results are going to, going to improve ridiculously, high end from where they were, because he's going to have to deal with a turnover of new players. He's still got the 7 or 8 players that he's got to try and get going. He's still got to try and get Kai Havertz to spit and Timo Werner get going. So I'm not saying Frank Lampard should stay forever. I agree with what Craig finished with there, where he needs to be given time and he needs to buy time. to try and get out of this messy situation that he's in. Then try and have a good January, good Feb, and have a strong end to the season. At the moment, that's way off. The Fulham game's the next one on his mind. Morecambe first in the FA Cup, try and get a win there, then turn over Fulham and get some sort of confidence and go on a mini run. That's all Frank can do.
But he's got this job because of his name. If he wasn't Frank Lampard, he wouldn't be the coach of Chelsea right now, Don. And I suppose those who are already starting to question whether or not he's the right man for the job would suggest, look, if this was Andres Villas-Boas, you'd be calling for his head. But because he's Frank Lampard and because he's your mate, that's why you're not willing to criticise him.
No, not my mate at all, because what I would say, Arteta only got the job because he's Guardiola's number 2. And Ollie only got the Man U job because he was a legend as well. So we can't, I'm not sticking up for Frank because he's a friend of mine. I'm saying like Stevie and I'm saying like Craig, the guy is under pressure. Frank's an intelligent man. He said that to the British press. He took the job knowing he wants to be competing for titles. So he puts pressure on himself. What he's saying, which I agree with after the weekend performance, is Chelsea right here, right now, are nowhere near what Man City are. But Man City have had 3 or 4 or 5 years under Pep Guardiola. So give him a little bit of time, all as I'm saying.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content plus live streaming, make sure to subscribe to ESPN Player.